that our soul will find you at the appointed time. Prabhu, as we pray tonight for the departed one of the soul, please bless him. Accept the soul, for you are the light of this universe. Jyoti Bindu Paramatma se है मेरी आत्मा अब चल कर ले मिलन अब चल कर ले मिलन अब चल कर ले मिलन ज्योति बिंदु ज्योति परमात्मा से है मेरी आत्मा अब चल कर मिलन अब चल कर मिलन अब चल कर मिलन प्राप्ति का मंत्र मूल है संपूर्ण समर्पण है आत्मा च प्रभु को सौंप दे तू सारा जीवन एक प्रभु तेरे निकट विराजे एक प्रभु तेरे निकट विराजे खड़े अभिवादन ज्योति बिंदु परमात्मा से है मेरी आत्मा अब चलो कर मिलन अब चलो कर मिलन अब चलो कर मिलन ज्योति बिंदु प्रेम सिंधु चल आज आगे परम पिता का प्रेम पात्र बनकर तू शुभ पाए किरण किरण को निरकनयन से किरण किरण को निरकनयन से ऊंचा मन में मगन ज्योति बिंदु ज्योति बिंदु परमात्मा से मेरी आत्मा अब चल कर मिलन अब चल कर मिलन अब चल कर मिलन अब चल कर मिलन Om Namo Bhagavate A very warm and special welcome to each and every one of you who have come to join with us tonight as we celebrate the life of the dearly departed one, as the appointed time would have reached, his soul would have departed from this materialistic or material coil, and we hope and pray that he merges like the wave merges back into the ocean. Even though while he was alive and while we all are alive, we never stop being the substance of life, like the water is the substance of the ocean. We never stop being a pure soul. Unfortunately, we get contaminated or caught up in the maya and the illusionary beauty of the world outside. We get caught up and we become attracted to the things and the beings of the world, and we forget our essential nature. We forget our true self. The fact remains that, as the Nirvana Ashtakam says, Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. The Nirvana Ashtakam reiterates that we are not the emotions of the mind, nor the intellect, nor we are anything on the body, such as the senses, but we are of pure nature rather of the one Shiva, Chidananda Rupaha, Sachidananda Rupaha, Shivoham, Shivoham. So Sat, Chit, and Ananda, meaning that our true nature, our true self is of the nature of Sat. And that which is Sat existed in the past, is existing now, and will exist in the future. That which is not Sat, truth, would have not been in the past, would be existing now, and would not exist in the future. So if we analyze carefully and we think about everything that we can see, smell, taste, touch, and listen to here, was born, exists, and perishes. So the senses can only perceive that which is limited and that which is finite. Before this entire creation came into existence, the Atma, the soul, which is of the nature of Sat, was existing. Then it is existing now and will continue to exist in the future. Therefore, it is of the nature of Sat or truth. Chit means that it is not just existence, but it is pure consciousness. And what is consciousness? Consciousness is life. So, for example, the clock has an existence, but it is not alive. The microphone has an existence, but it is not alive. This body has an existence, and it is alive for a long time. Isn't it? And then a time will come when the body will fall, but that which is supporting the body, that which is keeping the senses and the tissues and the muscles and the limbs together, that is real, and that is what you call Satya, or rather Sat. And the chit or the consciousness would leave the body at some point in time, as in the case of the beloved and dearly departed one. So when the consciousness leaves, then the body falls, but then the body never dies. So if the body never dies, what happens? What happens if the body never dies? We hear the soul never dies, but the body. So then, have we cremate something? Or we buried something? Ashes to ashes, and then the body died then. Okay. What is the body made up of? Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi. 5 Panchamahabhutas. Akash, is space dead? Is water dead? Is earth dead? Is fire dead? Is the other one? Akash, Vayu, Agni, Prithvi. Is Prithvi dead? So then what died? So they all simply disintegrated and went back to their respective places. So Ada went back to Ada, Vayu went back to Vayu, Agni went back to Agni, Prithvi went back to Prithvi, dust to dust, ashes to ashes, and Varun, what we call the water, went back to water. So nothing dies. It is just a cycle. The reality is, my dear friends, Bhagavan Krishna is what you call giving this knowledge to Arjuna that hey, this huge cycle will always go on. This huge cycle will continue. And the little hurt and thing we feel when we are separated from our loved ones, you see that little hurt? It's not a big thing, Like, please don't take this bad way, wrong way. How old was Papa when he died? How much? Right, so he's 85 years. I never knew him. But I was asked to come and do satsang. So I came. So the emotional attachment to him is not there. So no pain. Who knew him and lived with him and was associated with him, the attachment would be there, and therefore there is hurt and sorrow. Isn't it? So the reality is, how come it hurt you and not hurt me? Because you have the attachment. I don't have the attachment. God forbid, God forbid, God forbid. If something were to happen to somebody who is near to me, where the attachment is, I will be hurt. And you will not be hurt because you are not attached to who I am attached to. If we all are attached to somebody, then we all will become hurt. So what really hurts, my friends, is the attachment to the physical body that never dies. So the soul never dies, the physical body never dies. That is why the yogi and the jnani and the person of wisdom and knowledge, they understand this and they will simply not react to situations. They will not react to death because they know for a fact no one dies. Therefore, what we pray, that's why they say, the scripture says, when someone dies, be as positive, don't grieve. Send that positive energy to that atma, that soul. Because the soul now is moving in a certain direction, and all it needs is positivity. Sometimes I'm fighting for one, a little bit around It'll be around, that kind of thing, how Salman thing, that's how we fight. Sometimes it'll be a little big, but I think I have wrong. Again, the attachment to the materialistic things. And that's why Tulsidasi tells in a very beautiful chopai in the Ramayana, he says, Shri Ram Jai Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Ram Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Ram Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. Shri Ram Jaya Rama, Ye Sat Sangari Devan Hoye. Rama Kripali Sulabhan Soye. Shri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 This type of understanding and this type of knowledge will not come if we do not associate ourselves in the right company, in the company of those who will guide our thoughts and guide our way of thinking. It's called satsang. So satsang is not only a gathering like this. Excuse me. Satsang is not only a gathering like this. Satsang is associating ourselves with those who help us to think right. If someone is thinking around with negative lines and they come to us and we contribute to the negativity, we're not guiding or not helping that person. We're supposed to stand apart and listen to what that person is saying and guide, or don't judge, but try to look at the situation from the standpoint of wisdom. So Binu Satsang means without satsang, vivek na hui. Without satsang, we will not be able to, what you call, make the right decisions in terms of our thinking, in terms of our judgment, in terms of situations. Binu Satsang, vivek na hui. And if it does happen, it only happens by Shri Rama Kripa Binu Sula Banasoi. It's only by the kripa of God's grace and by the kripa of Bhagwan's blessing we are able to think right and what you call be in the right company. To be in the right company is God's grace. If you really want to know if you are blessed, look at the company that you keep. And the company we keep will tell what grace we have. I have some kind of grace, but it's not about everybody has grace, But the grace that we have, everybody have money. Everybody have money. But some people can afford certain things in life, and some people can afford bigger things in life, and some people can only afford day-to-day life, but they have money. Grace is like that. Some people have big grace, they have achieve anything by God's grace. Some people have little grace. Binu Satsang, if we don't have that, what you call bara grace, to find ourselves in the right company, whether it's in a spiritual environment, or in the work environment, or in the school environment, in the society, in the environment of the society, to find the right company, it is only Shri Ram Kripa. And friends, that what you call company we keep will either help us to think right or to think wrong. Right thinking leads to positivity, and wrong thinking leads to negativity. Right thinking will save the soul, and wrong thinking will destroy the soul. It all depends. And you know what? Who is in charge of your thinking? Yeah? Who's in charge of your thinking? I was listening to a program this morning, a video. I was going to, a little child was preparing for C exam, and they forgot it was canvas and all these things. And he said, Baba, can we still do a Hawan? I said, yeah, we do a Hawan. So we went and did a Hawan with the child this morning to make her feel, blessed. Now, the way I was listening to a program on radio, and the host on the program was talking to someone who called in, and they were talking about politics and things like that. And they were talking about, how the youths could improve themselves through YTEP and all these different programs and these communities and stuff. And then the host of the program asked the person on the phone, so all these programs are there, and like plumbing, electrical, mechanical engineering, not engineering, sorry, just regular mechanics and stuff. And how come the youths are not going out to get these things? And the man on the phone said, it's because the government is to be blamed. The leaders to be blamed. So if the young boy in the community refused to get up and go and seek to better himself or herself, as the case might be, the government will be blamed. Whether it's PNL government, the UNC government, or which government, or which leader, it's your responsibility as a person to get up and go and get. So they were talking about some children, they are academically inclined, which is true, and some children are just not academically inclined. So the ones who are not academically inclined, they go and do something else. And they will be successful. And the point we are making is we can't depend on people to do for us. And if I have a question on tabla, the best person I will ask is a person who is a professional theology. Isn't it? If I have a question on medicine, I will go to our beloved doctor. If I have a question on the topic, I will go to that person who will be able to have knowledge and guide me along so that I can, enlighten myself in that particular area. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, on occasions like these, through satsang, we seek this knowledge so that we have the right understanding about what is happening with the Atma, the soul, and what is also happening with our Atma and our soul while we are still here in this materialistic world. So, Binu Satsang Vivek Nahoy, without satsang, this right thinking will not be possible. And if there is not right thinking, then what happens? Wrong things happens to our soul. And so it is very, very important. That's why in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna, he tells Arjuna very, very clearly. And he said to him in the 8th chapter, in a very beautiful verse about this thinking. He says, chapter 8, very common verse, he says, Antakale chamam eva smaran mukta kalevaram yaprayati samathavam yati nasya samshaya Antakale chamam eva. Antakal. Ant means the end. Kal means time. So at the the end of time doesn't mean like the end of the world, but the end of the individual time. Antakale chamam eva smaran, remembering Uktva Kalevaram. Whatever you are thinking of, whatever you are remembering at that moment, Yaprayati Samadbhavam Yati Nasyatra Samshayah. That alone is the state to which the Atma, the soul, is going. Very common verse. But again, we are reminded that how we train ourselves to think when we are alive is what will happen when that antakal, the moment of death, or the moment of transmigrating comes. Let me not use the word death. The moment of transmigrating comes. So, whatever we are thinking of at that particular moment, that is what is the destiny according to Bhagavan Krishna in this particular verse. But he says, Smaran Uttva Mam Eva. Those who are thinking of me alone will come to my state. Now, let us be honest with ourselves, right? Let us all be honest with ourselves. How many times a day did you think of Bhagavan? Now, don't tell, just think. Now, we have to understand one thing. And let me use Dr. Vishy for example, right? He's a busy man, right? And he's out there looking after the sick and doing all those things. When will he get time to sit down and say, oh Krishna, I think of you now. And his phone is off the hook, or his office is busy, or he on the road, 10, 11 o'clock in the night, going to look after people. When will I get a chance to say, oh Krishna, I'm thinking of you now, or sit down for 5 minutes and take out meditation? When? And listen to how compassionate Bhagavan is. While he may not find that time, or you may not find that time to sit down in the mandir, and I saw something with meditation just now in the wall. Oh, do good and meditate, right? So, you see, do good part? It's not just do good and meditate. It is because doing good is meditation. I want you to remember that. Doing good is meditation. And not necessarily do good and meditate. Because for those, especially in the world we are living in today, who are going around the clock, may not find that meditative posture and sit down and fold the legs and fold the arms and sit down with the eyes closed and have that time for this. But in doing good, it is meditation. So Bhagavan says here, Antakale Chamam Eva, remembering the positive and the good. And here he says, me, Mam Eva, doesn't necessarily mean the Lord himself, but it means doing, and rather remembering the goodness of life, and remembering the good things of life, and remembering the God in life. That is where you are going. Because everything good is Bhagavan. Never forget that. Everything good is Bhagavan. And once we are able to identify with this goodness of life, our soul is being taken care of. Prabhuji, 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 Sukh ka sagar hai. So, remember the Atma is of the nature of Sat Chit. We saw what is Sat, that which was in the past, the present, and future. We saw that Chit is consciousness. The soul is of the nature of consciousness. It is alive. But the soul is also Ananda. And that Ananda is part of Bhagavan. Sukh karta, dukh harta, pavan Paramatma hai. Prabhuji, 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 Sukh ka sagar hai. सुख का सागर है, सुख का सागर है। प्रभु जी, प्रभु जी, प्रभु जी, सुख का सागर है। तूफान में जो कश्ती है, ईश्वर ही ईश्वर जिस राह में जिस राम में प्रभु जी, please bless us. We can meet with you, we can identify with you, we can become one with you because you are Sukha Sagar, you are the ocean of happiness. जीवन एक बातों में जिस राह में इस राह में बस जाना, एक बार जो शहर में So, with this knowledge and this what you call wisdom, we will be able to train the mind to think right. We will be able to train the mind to think of the right things. We'll be able to train the mind to think of that which, what we want the soul to destine to. So that's why Bhagavan says here, Antakale chamam eva smaran uktva kalivaram. So those who departs from the body thinking of me, or whatever entity, that person goes to that entity. And he says here that Yati nasyatra samshayaha, this is without a doubt. He goes on to say in the, what you call the fifth verse, Yam yam vapi swaram bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tadeva iti kauteya sada tad bhava bhavitah tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmarayya cha mayarpitamano buddhi Mami vai sasya samshaya yam yam vapi swaram bhavam yam yam vapi, whatever you are thinking of, whatever entity you are thinking of, and that at time when you leave the body, at the time of death, that what is called state is what you're going to attain, and that object you are going to attain. That's why they say attachment is not good enough. If you have a pet, and you're thinking of that pet at the time of death, where will you be? You're going to be a pet now. In the same form of the pet you have. I know of someone, a really sweet person. She was such a nice person. And she became ill, and I went to the hospital to see her. And I offered prayers and stuff. And she said to me, Mama, are you okay now? I could die and take no problem. But I was still going to do her. And her mind, she in hospital, and her mind is on that doorway. No, I mean, I'm not a judge. I don't know what she was thinking of that moment when she passed. The Bhagavan says, whatever you are attached to, you have to be careful because the mind could go there. And do you know, before the Bandara finished, Kailash, before her Bandara finished, the dog gave bouncing in the road. Listen, she doing it, he's gone. Gone like, maybe not. But how coincidental, Anyway, we'll cut half next time. It just happened like that. Dog, nice, calm, pet, and never out the road before. Before Bandara finished, he just ran in front of her car. So he also gone. Bhagavan says here, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam jagatyante kalevaram. Whatever entity you are thinking of, that could possibly be, and not possibly be, but it is the destiny of the soul. And it's kind of concerning, isn't it? Not scary, but kind of concerning. And it's scary if our mind is out of control. Isn't it? Because the mind will go crazy, the mind will go wild, thinking of all kind of things. Sometimes, like in recent times, there's so many people going through so many things. Just recently, a family went to do their routine annual medical checks, lipid profile. And this child, the family rather, doing their normal tests, everybody happy, everybody healthy, everybody good. When the result came back, the doctor called and said, please bring your child immediately, without any delay, to the hospital. Now, they get frightened. Everybody good? Oh, everybody feeling healthy and strong? Why doctor has that emergency? And when they went, they put them to sit down and counsel them before they gave them the news. And what was the news? The little boy, the little child, teenager, both kidneys gone. So, I mean, that kind of news? Teenager. And you see, my dear friends, right there, the whole entire family life has changed. Drastically changed. And we are seeing this happening, and it's happening, especially in the times that we are living in. Another child, recent times, just get a pain in her stomach, went to chest, and news came back that there was small, not really small, there was a growth in her, what we call intestine, in her colon, and it turned out to be cancer. I'm not a teenager. So my point, I'm just using these practical examples so that it will remind us, my friends, that, hey, you know what, we better really check on ourselves, because life is not very certain. As Bhagwan Shankaracharya says, he says, Nali nil dala jala gatamati taralam tadvat jivita mati jaya shabalam. Life is like a drop of water on the tip of a leaf. After the rainfall, the place calm, the water hanging on the leaf there. And before the wind blow, the water happy and feel it will last long. And the wind just blow, the water drop. That's it. It is on in the earth. That is how uncertain life is. Nalinil dala chalagatamati karalam. Tadvat jivitamati shaya chapalam. Bhagwan Shankaracharya says. And that is why Bhagwan Krishna here is training Arjuna's mind to think the right thing. Because even at this point, Arjuna was grieving in the Mahabharata Bhakti. He was grieving, he was sad, he was depressed. He said, I really can't take this thing anymore. And Bhagavan Krishna tried to lift the mind of Arjuna from what you call the objective to the subjective. Take your mind away from the outside to the inside. Take your mind away from the limited or the finite to that which is infinite. And what was very ironic was Arjuna had the Lord standing in front of him and didn't recognize him. He had the Lord in front of him and didn't recognize him. So my dear brothers and sisters, it is what the mind does. The mind plays so many different tricks with us. The mind wants the temporary things. The mind wants to hold on to the temporary things. Look at that plane crash in China Eastern, or Eastern China or something. It's going on. Suddenly, those guys straight down, full speed ahead. 150 something people. Uncertainty of life. Brothers and sisters, Papa was very lucky to live to 85. Was very lucky to live to 85. We don't know how much we will reach. But we still have a chance to correct our thinking. We still have a chance to think right. We still have a chance to think positive. We still have a chance to better our lives and our lifestyle. That's why it said, Om Tat Sat Shri Narayan Tu पुरुषोत्तम तू सिद्ध बुद्ध तू स्कंद विनायक सविता पावक तू सविता पावक तू ब्रह्मवत्व तू शक्ति तू विष्णु पिता प्रभु रुद्र विष्णु तू राम कृष्ण तू वही वासुदेव तो विश्वरूप तो जीवानंद हरि तो अद्वितीय तो अकाल निर्भय आत्मलिंग शिव तो साईनाथ शिव तो ओम तत्सत् श्री नारायण को सिद्ध बुद्ध तू स्कंद विनायक सविता पावक सविता पावक. This beautiful chant indicates that we must identify with the Lord. Identify with Him in every tradition, in every culture, every religion. Remember, my friends, it is only a clear and pure mind will recognize Him from the altar of all. It is only a clear mind who recognizes His greatness. He said, Purushottama Guru, He is also Purushottam, He is also the Guru. Siddha Buddha too, He is also the Buddha. Skanda Vinayak, Savita Pavakatu, He is Brahma. Yehovah. Who is Yehovah? You all know who is Yehovah? Jehovah. You all know who is Yeshu? Yeah. So it says here, Brahmadya tu, Yehovah Shakti tu, Yeshu Pita Prabhu tu, Rudra Vishnu tu, Rama Krishna tu, Rahim Tao tu. Rahim is who? You see how a simple chant, maybe it was composed by the poet in the modern times of the times we're living in, but it brings the mind to that oneness of Bhagavan. You understand? And that is where we need to reach. So, Siddha Buddha tu Skanda Vinayak Savita Pavak tu Savita Pavak tu Brahmadya tu Yehovah Shakti tu Vishnu Pita Prabhu Rudra Vishnu tu Rama Krishna tu Rahim Tao tu Rahim Tao tu वासुदेव तू विश्वरूप तू चिदानंद हरि तू अद्वितीय तू अकाल निर्भय आत्मलिंग शिव तू आत्मलिंग शिव तू आत्मलिंग शिव तू Atmalinga. All the Jyotirlinga is here. So the Atmalinga, Bhagwan, that is you also. So please bless my mind that I can identify with you and think right and seeing you and experiencing you. One day I was putting gas in the gas station and one guy was there. So he was looking kind of funny, so I was kind of skeptical. But then he asked, he said, hey, there's nothing in your hand. Like this, right? I said, well, it's called Raksha. He said, where are for? He said, that's protection. He said, they are protecting you. So I just woke up. So his mind, he is negative towards it. But in my mind, I have full faith. See the difference? So what makes the difference is the thinking. What makes the difference is the mantras. What makes the difference is the shraddha or the faith. So the same concept Bhagwan is saying here. Hey, learn to think. And learn to think right. Learn to think properly and learn to think positive. Right thinking is the key because that can determine also what you call the destiny of the soul. Because tasmat, therefore, if you learn to think right and you think of me all the time, tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, sarveshu kaleshu, all the time, thinking of me all the time, do what you have to do. In this case, he told Arjuna to fight. Krishna will be in his workshop. You will be doing your thing. God will be doing his thing. Everybody doing their thing. Do what you have to do. Put me first. Krishna Arjuna, Krishna Arjuna, Krishna Arjuna, Krishna Arjuna. Let's start the engine, Shri Krishna. We're putting the gear, Shri Krishna. We're driving, Shri Krishna. Call everything in full if you want, but after Shri Krishna. Calm down yourself. Whatever says Sri Krishna, calm down. So the mind goes back to Bhagavan. Nice simple what it is, isn't it? Yes, if you notice something, right? I don't know if it happens, but I'm sure it does. Like you sit down, you take a japa mala, and you start the japa. You think for a 108 times, you think about Bhagavan. You know how many times the mind will run away? And if you're washing dishes in the sink, you have what you call a sink full of dishes to wash, and every cup you wash, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, and you pray, Shri Krishna. You clean your mind and you clean your dishes. And your mind and him. Instead of what? Washing the dishes and complaining of God. It's not right. And he's sweeping. Not only the mandir, when he's sweeping home. Shri Krishna. Every broom pass, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna. You walk on the treadmill. How do you? How do you? How do you? How do you? We just take these things up within our ears. Don't worry, listen. So you treadmill, and instead of chanting at every step, Shri Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, every step you will do. And the mind focus on the exercise, yes, it's true, but then you train the mind to subconsciously chant his name. Subconsciously you're thinking of him. I don't know what Papa was thinking of. I don't know what my mom was thinking of. I don't know what my dad was thinking of when they left. But I know they live a good life. And they live a positive life. Bhagavan says here, comes back to say, so Arjuna had a little complaint, you know? Like when the teacher talking in class and looking at the students that have little doubts in their mind, the teacher will pick it up. And while we're hiding behind the other person, the teacher will point that one out. Because he knew he had it for a reason. So Arjuna was like that. He had this little doubt in his mind. So Bhagavan Krishna says, what are you thinking about? I see that you are thinking it is difficult. But Arjuna, even though I'm saying this, and to you it might be difficult, all you have to do is Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena Chetasana Gamina Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Parthanu Chintayam. All you have to do is practice it. Mama, you ever do the dishes and chant? Yeah? When I cooking, chant? Really? Very good. Next one, Maya. Huh? You sing. Very good. In the bathroom. Bhajan do now. You're not in the bathroom. So very good. So that is what Bhagavan wants us to do here. And Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena, practicing this yoga, Arjuna, the mind will become disciplined. And Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Partha Muchintayan Upartha. There is no need to worry. You will attain supreme, effulgent, divine Purusha. You will attain that divinity. You will attain me. Paramam, Paramapurusha, supreme being. And this is what I wish for the soul of your dearly departed one tonight. Because I know, even though he has departed, his mind is still there with him. His mind is still thinking, his mind is still experiencing emotions, and the mind is still experiencing all those things. Even though he's out of the body. His mind will die, the intellect will die, consciousness will die, manchak, buddhi, and ahankar, the individual soul doesn't die. So all that with him right now. So he thinking and he feeling and experiencing a little bit of this life and experiencing a little bit of where he's going. And he appreciates the satsang, and he appreciates the chanting of the Lord's name, and he appreciates what everybody is doing for him. But he has to move on. And Bhagwan is saying here, as a matter of fact, this is what we wish for him. Excuse me. This is what we wish for him, that he attains that Parama Purusha, Divya Yati, Partanu Chintayan, Arjuna, that he attained that supreme state of divine bliss. And Bhagwan is glorified in this most beautiful way. He says, I dedicate this particular chant to everybody here. I dedicate this one to everyone who are present here. May Bhagwan bless all of you. May Bhagwan bless all of us. And may Bhagwan bless all those who are viewing on social media. Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram Ramanarayanam Janaki Vallabham. Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram Ramanarayanam Janaki Vallabham. कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं, कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं, कोई रात जैसे बुलाते नहीं, कोई रात जैसे बुलाते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम विश्वदामोदरम राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम्। कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं, कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं, दर्शन के जैसे खिलाते नहीं, दर्शन के जैसे खिलाते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभं, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभं। कृष्ण है कृष्ण है कृष्ण है कृष्ण है। कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं हम कहते हैं भगवान, सोते नहीं माए शुरता जैसे सुहाते नहीं, माए शुरता जैसे सुहाते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभं, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभं। कौन कहते हैं भगवान नाचते नहीं, कौन कहते हैं भगवान नाचते नहीं, गोपियों की तरह तुम नाचते नहीं, गोपियों की तरह तुम नाचते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम विश्वदामोदरम, अच्युतम केशवम विश्वदामोदरम, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभं, राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभं। कृष्ण हे कृष्ण हे कृष्ण हे कृष्ण हे। So, even though you may not understand the details about all the reality of Bhagwan, all he is telling us in one simple thing to remember tonight: think of me in all that you do. Basically, that's it. Just think of me in all that you do. And Parama Purusha Divyam Yati Partam Chintayan. You will attain that Parama Purusha state of eternal bliss. And so, my friends, with this message tonight, we will conclude and we want to express our sincerest thanks to all of you for your love, your support to the family during this time. And it is indeed very, very important to associate like this, especially in times like these. So may God bless each and every one of you. I would like to call upon the president of this temple, Mr. Singh, to bring greetings.
Thank you very much. All right, so I want to thank the Pandit Abhedanand for gracing us with your presence, for being in Launch Park today, visiting our ashram, and of course, a lot of people are looking forward to hearing you tonight. We had a lot of people watching on social media tonight. I think we had the most viewership. Nice, so thanks, and for the people who've been coming out regularly here at Launch Park, the community is the same every day. Thank you very much for your support. And we continue tomorrow, same time. We have Pandit Rohit tomorrow as we continue our 10 nights on devotion. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. We will do our final and closing prayer as we pray for the Atma, the soul. We pray that Universal Lord, may special grace and guidance and blessings be upon the departed one, wherever his soul is and will ever be. May your grace and blessings be with him. As you have reminded us tonight, think of you and to train the mind to think of you. Please Even this happens by your grace. We may want to, but sometimes our karma pulls us in so many different directions, O Krishna. Please shower your grace upon us. Shower your grace upon our loved ones. Shower your grace upon our communities, in our nation, and by extension, the world. But there are so many families who are going through so many difficult situations. Prabhu, without your blessings, how can we find the strength to cope and to overcome all situations? We trust in you and we believe in the power of your grace and your divine guidance. Om Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktihinam Janardana Yat Pujitam Maya Deva Paripurnam Tadastvami. Anadinidano Deva Shankha Chakra Gadadhara Akshaya Pundarikaksha Pretamoksho Pradobha Pretamoksho Pradobha. Om Krishna Krishna Kripalotvam Agdinam Gatirbhava Sansararnavamagnanam Prasida Purushottamam. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Beautiful Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki, Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki. So let me express our sincere thanks to all for having come. Special thanks to Vishal also for taking the time and of course joining us with us and bringing blessings to this wonderful family and the departed soul. Thank you, Baba. God bless you. Thank you also, Kailash. Kailash only got the phone call today. This is very last minute. And also Krishna, our sound engineer. Thank you so very much for responding on the spot. So God bless you all.